Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome back to Bird Dog MMA, the only place where you're gonna find bets on every single card. Sorry for the late post. We're gonna keep it light this week because let's be real, this card kind of stinks. But hey, a bad card could still be a great betting card if you know where to look. But before we jump in, quick shout out to everybody on Patreon. That's where the full bets are, live plays, round props. They usually go up pretty early this week. We were kind of celebrating a little bit from last week, so we got out a little late, but hopefully if you tune in soon enough, you could get a few plays this week. And we've been cooking lately. If you're not on there yet, the link's in the bio. It's only $10 a month, and the first week is free, and it's going to stay free. So do what you got to do with that information. But first, let's go over last week's bets because we went on a absolute heater. Absolute heater. First, we had started off the card good with Ramiz Brahimaj. Nice little money line play with a decision no bet. That kind of gave us a nice little bankroll to play with. Then we had two nice parlays. One I used a profit boost for, and they only let you use $25 for that. So, and I did want a full unit, which, we're everyday bettors. So a full unit for us is $50. So we had two nice parlays, Soriano, Shabazian, Zalal, Marab. It was one of those cards where you didn't really have to overthink it. You kind of knew heavy favorites were going to come out and they were going to do their thing. So there was no need to find props unless absolutely necessary. So we hit on a nice four-leg parlay. Then we had Soriano KO or points. Then we had his money line. Sometimes you have to bet a little bit more and take the chalk. Then we had Hardy money line. Plus the fight will go the distance in the MGK versus Macy Chiasson versus Santos fight. Then this one was a barn burner. We had Gaultier versus Vines. That, the way Vines was running away for that first few minutes of the fight, I was starting to think that wasn't going to hit. And I was starting to think, like, why would we play under a half a round? But, Gaultier is going to do Gaultier things. And that was an easy $60 right there with only half a unit. I should have bet more on that. Then we had Shabazian. Another one where, the cheeks were clenched on that one. Round 1 KO plus a KO. Should have bet more on that. Then we had Zalal by KO or sub. Initially, I did have submission on the script, but I let all the Patreon members know we're switching it up. I was out with the boys that night, so I was like, you know what, let's do a little more, but keep ourselves protected by going KO or sub. Because I kind of had a feeling that Emmett was going to pressure Zalal and underestimate BJJ. Then Jiri. What are we going to do with you, brother? What are we going to do with you, brother? Oh, man, what a fight. One of the best fights I ever saw. I have a buddy who doesn't really watch UFC or MMA in general and likes to fade me whenever we're together. So he faded me like a lot of people and took Roundtree. I had to hear it from him from the majority of that fight. And then Yuri turned it on like he always does, got that done. That was my biggest bet of the night. Then we were trying to have some fun with Marab. He almost had it, but again, we do bankroll management. We only put $10 on it because the odds were so good. We could have won half a unit on that. He almost got it done, but again, I wasn't mad because he still won by decision and we didn't get killed because it was only $10. But he almost had that. That's why I put that in there. Then we go to the Patchy Mix scandal. Please remind me to never bet that man again. I had a full unit on this parlay. Everything was looking good up until the decision was called. I thought Patchy won. Most people thought Patchy won, lost 2 units there. But in my mind, I think that's a win because, come on, that was a robbery. So I had to throw that in there just because I think the read was right. And that could have been a potential for even more money. And then, Alex Pereira. I had it in my gut. That Alex was going to win, and I didn't do it. I drank the Kool-Aid. Initially, I was going to switch it to just fight doesn't go the distance because I did have fight doesn't go the distance parlayed with Big Ank. But I had a feeling not to really trust that, and I bet lightly on that. So overall, we were 31% ROI. We were 12-6 or 12-5 on bets. And we left a lot of money on the table, especially with that Patchy robbery. But 31% ROI on the Patreon. That's 2 weeks profit in a row. We've been cooking. Let's get this out really quick, just so we can help everybody who's not on the Patreon cook a little bit. I'm gonna give out a ton of free plays, just because I put it out so late. So let's start from the top today. So first fight, we got Oliveira versus Gamrot. Starting off strong. Both these guys get dropped like as a part of their warm-up routine. Seriously, same number of knockdowns in their careers. Both chins are questionable at best, but here's the difference. Oliveira is dangerous everywhere. He could beat you standing. He could beat you on the ground. Gamrot, he's got one lane, wrestle and pray. Oliveira's got better BJJ, way sharper striking, and honestly, Gamrot's strengths just feed right into Oliveira's. Gamrot's chin, I think, is beyond suspect personally. He gets dropped in nearly every fight. So on the feet, that's going to leave him in a lot of danger. I think Oliveira could finish it from his back. I think he could finish it from top. And he definitely could finish it from his feet. I've cashed on him before, betting against Gamrot. I had Dan Hooker in his last fight. So yeah, I think Oliveira is going to absolutely slump Gamrot. So I'll give you a free play here. I have 1.5 units, might even bump it to 2 on the money line for Oliveira, and I got Oliveira KO. I got a unit on that, maybe a half unit. Depends how we're doing on the night, but I'm all over the KO for Oliveira. All right, the next up we got Figueroa versus Montel Jackson. This one's probably going to be slow in my opinion. Both guys are counter punchers. Both wait for the other to go first. Figgy has great leg kicks, slick takedown timing, and good fight IQ. He's coming up in weight. He's been fighting up in weight. He officially, because his old weight cut was pretty rough on him. So I think that's going to be interesting. But he's faced tougher guys. In my opinion, he's had the harder competition. Montel has heavy hands, strong kicks, but he's super low output and relies on his counters too much. If Figgy decides to wrestle, I think he's a live dog. I'm expecting this to be a slow, tactical fight, low output, not much chaos. Yeah, so I do like Figgy in this one, but that's just me being a degenerate and trying to take the value there. Obviously, I'm not going to bet a ton on it, but I do think Figgy has what it takes to get that done. All right. For the value. Don't sit here and say, oh, he had Figgy. Listen, I'm taking Figgy for the value. I think he's proven. I think he's fought tougher competition at those odds. I know he's coming off the ACL. I'm taking him all day. All right, the next fight, we got Luque versus Alvarez. Listen, I love Luque. He's an absolute legend, but the man is past his prime. Alvarez is just the better fighter everywhere. Everywhere the fight goes, he's better. Honestly, I think this fight, the odds kind of make it a little bit unbettable. But I do think it ends early, and this is my free play of the week. I'm going Alvarez money line, parlayed with the fight doesn't start round 3. I'm putting a unit on that. It's only minus 191. But yeah, I like him. Plus, I have Alvarez in a parlay, so that's my free play of the week. The next up, we got Diniz versus Pinto. Jonta Diniz, he's taking on Mario Pinto, and Pinto is one of my favorite reads on this card, even though I'm not super confident. But I do like the way that Pinto is composed. He has great power, very good fight IQ, like very high fight IQ. But sometimes he's a little too lackadaisical. He just needs to actually go for it. And when he does look great. You see he'll kind of sit on rounds. I don't know if he's preserving his cardio for later rounds or he's trying to make a right read. But he kind of waits and then decides when he's going to turn it on. And he also knows when he's down, also knows when he's winning a fight. When he's winning a fight, he kind of takes it off the gas. But when he's losing, he knows how to get it back. And he has crazy power. Like I've seen him put guys out off his back foot with a left hook. He has that power that he doesn't really need to put a ton into his punches and can knock you out anytime. And it seems like whenever he needs the knockout, he just goes and gets it. Diniz, he's a kickboxer. He kind of is sloppy at times. I also think he has worse cardio. He's also hittable, in my opinion, and has zero grappling. And you've seen in a few of Pinto's fights, he can use his grappling, kind of has it in his back pocket when needed. So yeah, give me Pinto by a late knockout. I'm not betting a ton on this because the read isn't exact. Like I also think Diniz is a very good kickboxer, and I think it's going to be a kickboxing fight. But I'll give you a free play here. I do have Pinto KO round 2 and KO round 3, 0.2 units each. This plus 1,300 and plus 1,800. Listen, Pinto, I've watched film on him, and he'll sit there, he'll make his reads. And the reason I'm not betting his money line is because I've seen him get dropped a lot. And Diniz isn't a slouch when it comes to the kickboxing. So you kind of want to protect yourself by not over exposing yourself on the money line. and just see if Pinto could kind of make his read round one and then turn it on like he has in the past and get guys out of there, which he seems to be able to do. So, yeah, give me Pinto KO round two and Pinto KO round three. 0.2 units. I'm giving free plays, y'all. I'm giving them out for free. All right. Then we got Ramos versus Offley. Ricardo Ramos versus Khan Offley. Ramos is flashy, but reckless in my opinion. He has spinning everything, spinning elbows, spinning kicks, all that. But he has no head movement and gets chopped up by leg kicks. In my opinion, Offley's the better striker. He's stronger, and he can stuff takedowns, which I think if he can do here, I think he can get the win here. So I like Offley in this fight. Next, we got Lucas Almeida versus Michael Oswell. Almeida's 34. He's coming off a broken hand. You saw that in the weigh-ins. His hand looked completely swollen. I'm surprised this fight isn't canceled, in my opinion. I'm surprised if he'll be able to get his gloves on. I wouldn't be surprised if he even gets canceled right before they walk out. Almeida, he plants his feet way too much. He's very stationary, as well as 25. Almeida's 34, as well as slick footwork. He has clean boxing, and he's got the cardio edge. So this is yeah, I like Aswell, even though he's a pretty heavy favorite. But I'm going to take a KO prop on this one. I like Oswell. He's a really good boxer. He has a good, strong leg kick. And you saw in Almeida's last few fights, one in particular where he almost got finished by leg kicks. I'm forgetting his name. I had it when I was watching film, but he had him in the first round based off leg kicks. He had him on his back. He was chopping it up, and he kind of wasted too much time playing in his guard. Like even though he dropped into his guard a few times and went to the mat, but he wasn't letting him. He didn't let him up and keep chopping the leg kicks. If he did that, I think he would have finished him. So I think Almeida's on the tail end of his career. He's very susceptible to leg kicks. Aswell does have a mean, strong leg kick, even though he doesn't throw it a ton. He's more of a boxer. But yeah, I think Aswell, he has a better record, and he's younger. I think he's hungrier. I'm taking the chalk on Aswell here, so give me Michael Aswell. Next fight, we got Jafel Fijo versus Clayton Carpenter. This spot I do like. Fijo, he's got decent BJJ, but he's wild, hittable, and doesn't have a chin for a brawl. And when he does get hurt, he starts shooting crazy takedowns from across the octagon and also tries to turn it into a brawl. He'll start swinging wildly. Carpenter's wrestling and top control should carry him here. He has really, really good top control, really heavy top control, and really good takedowns. You could tell he has the better wrestling. Whereas Filho, he's more of a BJJ guy, and we know BJJ guys, they don't necessarily have the best wrestling for the most part. They're good once it gets to the mat, but they're not good getting it there, stopping it from going there. They rely off their back. So I think Carpenter is going to be able to beat him on the feet. I think he's going to be able to beat him in the wrestling. I think he's tougher, younger, hungrier. I think he's stronger, personally. I think he's more filled out at this weight class. And yeah, I like Carpenter in this fight. Next fight, we got Petrino versus Peterson. I mean, there's not much to say here. Peterson is slow, plotty, has bad footwork. Petrino, I just think is too explosive, too athletic. I think this one ends violently. I could see a scenario where Petrino is kind of sitting outside. I think, piecing him up, not throwing a ton, throwing that jab out there, and then one of his hooks land, and I think he gets Peterson out of there. Peterson, I just don't think personally is on the UFC level. I think he gets finished here, but I'm not putting a ton on it. I'm going Petrino KO, and I'm only doing half a unit at plus 135, and that's because Petrino can also finish him by sub, which he's been doing a lot at heavyweight. He does have good grappling. I could see a scenario where he knocks him out, but if he on the feet, I think you see him knocking him out on the feet. But he doesn't. If he doesn't knock him out on the feet, and Peterson is still conscious when it hits the mat, I could see Petrino bringing it to the mat and finishing it by sub. So I'm gonna protect ourselves. We're gonna go Petrino KO, half a unit. All right. The next fight. I'm sorry, we got Mosquito versus Alaskiva. I'm not betting this just because, again, we went on such a run last week. I don't want to rush it, and I don't want to force nothing. I know our stick is we are betting every single fight, every single week. For the first time, I'm going to break that, and I'm just going to, I'm charging people for the Patreon. I don't want to give them bets just to have them. So we're just going to sit this one out, use the bathroom, do what you got to do, hang out with your friends, get a drink, do what you got to do. So actually, this is the first ever time in Bird Dog MMA we're going no bet on that one. All right, and keep in mind, this is a betting page, not a pick'em page. the odds are crazy. Pick who you want at the end of the day. Yeah, we're here to bet on fights and watch them. But yeah, there's no point if we're not having a bet on it. So yeah, we're going no bet. Then next fight, we got Rocha versus Nickel. I do like these odds. I think Nickel has a wrestling edge. I think his path to victory is clear. I like Nickel's wrestling. I think it's way better. You saw what happened with the wrestling when Rocha fought Clayton Carpenter and he got dominated on the mat. So I think Nickel's path to victory is wrestling. And if he uses it, I think at minus 102, it's easy right there. I think that's a free play. Not necessarily free because Rocha does have good boxing, good kickboxing. And on the feet, he is pretty dangerous. But I do think Nichols' commitment to his wrestling and his ability to wrestling at minus 102 gives him a lot of value. So I'm not going to get too cute, and I'm going to go nickel money line at a unit. But be careful with that one because that one could go either way. But, this is a betting page. We need some action. And on cards that have been so juicy, you got to find your spots. And this is a spot I do like. The next fight, we got Pilastri versus Kolakewicz. Sorry for my pronunciation of some of these names. But again, I didn't research this one. Again, I'm not going to force it. This is going to be another no bet for me. Then we have next fight. First fight of the card, I think, is Lacerda versus Oliveira. I think this is going to be a chaotic fight. Both grapplers are on a losing streak. They're both grapplers, both on losing streaks. I think there's a situation where the loser gets cut. But I think Lacerda, he's slower, but he has really good kicks, and he's steadier. So he's slower, steadier, good kicks. He has heavy power in the hands. And I think he could punish Oliveira when Oliveira does his wild stuff. He's another guy that likes to throw spinning elbows. He's not necessarily going to throw jabs and crosses and leg kicks and all that. He kind of just blitzes in with one or two strikes, a spinning elbow here and there. And if you could time it right, you could get under there and take him down. Both guys are very good grapplers, both good BJJ players. But I think Lacerda is just overall a better fighter. It's a little chalky, but I do like Lacerda there, and I'm going to parlay him. So just to close and summarize everything, the picks I do like. I like Oliveira. I like Figgy. I like Alvarez, Pinto, Offley, Aswell, Carpenter, Petrino, Nickel, Lacerda. And then I'll give you two free parlays here. I have a unit on each. First parlay is Michael Aswell and Joel Alvarez. I have a unit on that at minus 154. And then I have Lacerda and Petrino parlayed at minus 135. So, that's the breakdown, guys. We're keeping it light this week. We're not going to overextend ourselves. We won a lot of money. Again, we won, I believe, 7 units last week, and we're 31% ROI on last week's card. So we're going to keep some money in that bankroll. We're going to manage our bankroll responsibly. Keep this card light. It's an early card. Don't forget, it starts 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to watch it, have fun. We technically have action on all but 2 fights. But, it's smart action. So we're keeping it light. We're not overextended. Remember, ugly cards are where we find the best value sometimes. Full bets, round props, and any live lines are all on Patreon. Good luck. Bet smart. Let's cash some tickets. Let's go, Bird Dog MMA Week.